Hello, hello, hello.
Hi everybody. If there's anyone new to the channel today, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell because there's a lot that goes on this channel. Wow.
My God.
Wow.
Well, another one of those documentaries about someone you feel you really know. I mean, I kind of knew most of what was said, but seeing it all in one place was really useful. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? It didn't particularly...
I just didn't expect I was going to be so horrified on so many times.
No.
Mostly by the interviewers who were a disgrace.
The interviewers or interviewees?
Yeah, no, the interviewers, all the people that interviewed her over the years, the way they spoke to her.
Oh, I know.
I thought was just
What about that
really
guy who just
shocking.
mentioned her boobs? I mean, just like...
But we were all part of that generation. It was just so normal, wasn't it?
I think one of the most sort of arresting moments in the whole documentary, I don't know if anyone else has seen it, and if you haven't seen it, when you see it, let us know, was when there was a really nice guy who was talking, and he said, you've got to remember, this was back at a time when mental health wasn't a thing.
Oh my
so
God,
we weren't even
awful.
thinking in those terms, were we?
Well, we were as soon as she was
like
called
she's just
mad.
a mad.
Oh my God, I mean, I feel heartbroken for her. A friend of mine, actually, Lee, I don't know if you'll hear Lee, phoned within the first 10 minutes and said, my heart's literally breaking for her. I mean, there were so many. I really remember that time when she was the first time she was taken into a facility and she'd blocked herself in her room with her children. And I can just imagine that panic and doing that because she'd had her children completely taken away from her, hadn't she?
Well, I was reminded of how many of those incidents, like had I remember the bizarre moment that the footage of her shaving her head came out, the footage and the photographs, to even have that footage. You know, normally it would be the kind of thing that would happen in private, but the fact that but the weird thing about that, I was watching it again through...
And she didn't look mad at all, she just looked pissed off.
No, she looked pissed off.
She was angry.
But all of our girls have said they've wanted a buzz cut at some point.
But excuse me as well, how many times through the ages has an angry woman been called an insane woman?
Oh my God.
She was as angry as fuck, and so she should be.
Yeah.
Well, as I've mentioned before on this channel, she came on to Loose Women. We interviewed her on Loose Women a couple of years ago. And she was absolutely charming. But it was this underneath the table. She was very, very nervous.
Was she controlled? Did she have an entourage that controlled her?
Yeah, but I mean, that's quite normal for... I mean, we didn't
Major
really
celebrities.
think anything of it. That major celebrities quite often want to know. Every question had to be you had to know every single question.
Yeah, but Jane Collins is like that.
Yeah, but she had that sweetness. I mean, she was very sweet, vulnerable and sweet.
I mean, you're right. I see what you mean in terms of the TV hosts that interviewed her. Like that first woman, she was just
shame on every single one of them.
No, but when she was a child, and he was asking her about whether she had a boyfriend and whether he'd do.
Right from that tiny age, yeah. Sexualising her in that way. Building her up, sexualising her, building her up, putting her on a pedestal of this kind of sexuality, this sort of Lolita sexual being, and then knocking her down for it. Slut-shaming her from every single corner. She's just got really angry.
And
then they turned that into her being mad.
And Justin Timberlake has, subsequent to this documentary, apologised, hasn't he? He's made an apology.
I don't know. Apology.
No.
The misogyny and the sexism that was just right there. I mean, we were watching it with our girls, and of course they've grown up in an age where all of that is completely... You just can't talk to people like that anymore.
No, in interviews
and
you
they're
can't.
so aware. Our girls are so aware of, you know, having that respect about people, around people that might have mental health condition, and so it was so shocking for them. But you know, the other thing is, what the hell is a conservatorship? What about when that lawyer said she's never known one be retracted?
Well, yeah, so for me, there's all sorts of things that are resonating for me around this thing. Emma McDonald, just to show the other side of the coin, I really felt she needed help, and her family did the right thing stepping in. She needed help. She was on a downward spiral. I'm not suggesting... I think perhaps she did need some help at some point, but the inflexibility of the setup seems nigh on medieval.
Because you can have episodes.
Yeah.
where you might need help, but then to be locked into something.
But she's
when
also...
you can still work your ass
Yeah.
off. I mean, she's a fully functioning, working person.
But that
so
one
it's all
clip,
right for her to do that.
Yeah, it's all right for her to work. She's got freedom of mind and sense and sanity to be able to perform to the highest level,
millions,
but not to do anything else. The other thing about it also reminds me of that sort of conundrum that's at the heart of something like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which is, you can't prove that by trying to prove that you're not insane, you prove that you're insane somehow. And I thought that clip in the MTV where they had that closest thing to access to her within the family.
Yeah.
And she revealed that moment where she said, I just want
so
fruit.
sad.
I'm so sad. And so you sort of think, oh my God.
And I found the brother really unpleasant. Oh, well, she always wanted to be rid of the conservative. We've got women that want to do their own thing. The women in this family have all got ideas of what they want to do. It's just like, oh, really?
So Faith Goodman, if you haven't got Sky or Now TV, this is a documentary that really, it's not a criticism, but it doesn't really tell us anything more than you wouldn't be able to piece together in the public realm. There's no big expose or surprising moment. But what it does do a great job of is annotating and collecting and compiling the narrative that we all feel we have a knowledge of. And just when you see it sequentially up against each other, because we always get it, don't we, in the media in dribs and drabs, you see how consistently... many times, I said to Maddie at one point, obviously, that it reminded me of Amy Winehouse. And I think there, but for the grace of God, go the American press, tabloids, hosts such as Reese, you were just mentioning one of the hosts there who was making her feel guilty about the whole Justin Timberlake and all that sort of stuff. And that moment where she said someone wanted to shoot you because you weren't...
I know, and she told her that woman said that to a child. But you know what I thought was just disgusting, the way they started to attack her as a mother, because then actually, like her mum said, she had 2 babies, one after another, and her mother said that she thought she
Diane
had postnatal.
Sawyer, that's right.
And when she put the baby on her lap and drove the car, I remember at the time, because there was always a lot made about how Britney had grown up in the countryside and she was a real country girl at heart. And when she said, my dad always used to put us on her lap and drive the car, you could kind of get that, that country thing. And also, you've got all the paparazzi. You can't imagine what that must be like.
I like the way in which they revealed the nonsense of the paparazzi guy who said she never asked us not to be there, and then the interviewer went,
said, what about when she said leave you alone? Yeah, for a day.
She didn't mean,
but he drove her to that when she went mad with Umbrella. He played a really big part in her down. She didn't look mad to me when she was a moving image. She looked angry.
No, absolutely.
She's pissed off.
So Emma McDonald says, we were just saying if Amy Winehouse had a team step in, maybe she'd still be here. But her father did kind of step in, didn't he? Or tried to step in a similar way. Well, there's a whole contentious subject there. It's very, very difficult, isn't it? When you look... I love my greatest moment, though, like I think it was for you, was her walking through Las Vegas for her so-called performance. And just saying, nah.
It's like, not saying a single word. It's like, all these people can earn all this money from me. And, I've interviewed a lot of people that have done those Vegas shows. They are graft like you wouldn't. They are exhausting. Night after night. And they're 2-3 hour shows. And yet she's so unwell. She can't decide who to employ even.
Rhys Roberts, really good observation and beautifully put. It's a harrowing depiction that also shows you how, as human beings, no one person is supposed to be that famous.
Yeah.
Especially when said person is being exploited by her inner circle where safety is key. I think you're right. I think there's something really interesting about that idea that no one person is supposed to be that famous. And it's weird how fame generates such fury in people.
Because we know it. The press like to build people up so that they can knock them down.
Yeah, but it's only born of envy.
Yeah.
It's only ever born of envy.
And all those early interviews, she's so strong and she so knew what she wanted. And actually, I think she held herself so well when people were being absolutely disgusting to her, rude.
Yeah.
But with this fake, the interviewers, how do you feel? She's trying to protect her children. That's why she wanted to come and shoot you with a gun. Oh.
And then the added insult to injury towards the end of the film is the fact that obviously if she goes to court to try and overturn the conservatorship, she has to pay not only for her own lawyers, but she has to pay for the lawyers of her conservatorship because they're her conservatorship.
But also, I think they must have been tied up some real issues about seeing her children. It's obviously a way that they've controlled this situation.
But do you think I quite like the two girls who were running the BRITNEY Instagram thing, where they would read into the messages on her Instagram feed?
I really enjoyed the whole film.
No, I thought there was
I loved the way we had the two podcasts. I thought it was really well made, actually.
Yeah, no, it was neat. It was neat, and it was just, like I say, for me, it was really nice having it all strung together and given context, because. Again, like all of these things, you know, you think you know someone. Never judge even the most... We think the most famous of people have nothing to worry about. It's just different shit. It goes back to what I was saying earlier in my mental health chat. It's just different shit for different folks. You can't cater for how it impacts on people. You know, some famous people really struggle with fame, and it's not an indulgence. It's a real problem, you know? Anyway, well worth watching. If you get a chance to watch it, check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah?
It was I thought, I feel a bit... shell-shocked from it all, actually. I want to just run and find her and give her a big hug.
Yeah, you do want to look after her. Bless her. Bye, guys. Tell us what you think.